The Europa League phase is finally back, and it's been a whole year since the Matchday 6 games. You get it? Because Matchday 6 was in 2025 and now we're in 2026. Oh my god! Wow! Whatever. These are my Matchday 7 predictions. In today's video, I'm going to be predicting the results for each of the Matchday 7 fixtures. And obviously, if you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with some of my predictions, remember to leave your predictions and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. We are on the road to 7,000 subscribers and I can't do it without you guys. So if you enjoy the video and you enjoy the predictions, remember to click on the subscribe button. But without further ado, let's get right into these predictions. Starting off with the first match, we have Bologna against Celtic. This is a tough game because realistically, I do think Bologna are the better team. I feel like Celtic this season haven't really been as good as they've been in previous years, and with Bologna having the home advantage, you would most likely predict them to win this game. But at the same time, Celtic currently sit in 24th place. They are right on the edge of that top 24. And if they lose this game, the chances of them making it into the knockout stages is very, very slim. But with that being said, Celtic also do have a few injuries at the moment, and they haven't really been that good on the attack as of recent. And Bologna, with players like Castro, Dominguez, or Solini, I think Bologna will beat Celtic 2-1. The next game we got is Brann against FC Midtjylland. Midtjylland have been surprisingly good in this Europa League so far. Now, yes, they are a good team from Denmark, but sitting in second place, 5 wins out of 6 games is very impressive. And they're also the top goal scorers in this competition, as they've already scored 13 goals, with players like Franculino already having 3 goals is crazy. Now, Brann do have the home advantage in this game, and I think it will be a close game. Brann have been surprisingly good in this Europa League. They've gotten 2 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses, which is better than I initially expected, but I think Midtjylland are a bit too strong, so I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for FC Midtjylland. Moving on to the next match, we have Fenerbahce against Aston Villa. This is going to be a very good game. Domenico Tedesco against Unai Emery. And for me, there's one clear favorite, and that's Unai Emery. His resume in these Europa League competitions is crazy. He is such a fantastic manager in the UEFA competitions. Whether it's the Europa League, whether it's the Champions League, he always gets his teams to perform well. And with that being said, Aston Villa in recent months have been absolutely incredible. They started off the season very, very poor, but in recent months, they have been very good. Now, I will say within their last 5 matches, they have dropped off a little bit as they've lost against both Arsenal and Everton, and they also got a draw against Crystal Palace. But some of their best players in Ollie Watkins are finally scoring goals. Obviously, McGinn has already gotten 2 goals in this Europa League alone. So I think Aston Villa should be able to win this game. But with that being said, Fenerbahce do have a very strong team and they have the home advantage. They have some very, very good players, and in the Turkish Super League, they're playing fantastically. 4 straight victories for Fenerbahce in their last 4 matches. So yes, Aston Villa could win this game and are probably predicted to win this game. But in my opinion, I'm actually going to go with a 2-2 draw. Moving on to the next game, we have Freiburg against Maccabi Tel Aviv. I feel like Freiburg have actually been pretty shocking so far in this Europa League, because in the Bundesliga, they haven't been having the best season. They've only gotten 6 wins from their first 18 games. That's a 33% win percentage. But in the Europa League, they've been incredible. They currently sit in 5th place and they've won majority of the games they play. They're still one out of only 3 teams that have still not lost yet in the Europa League, and that shows you something about their attack, but also how good they are defensively, because they're a very strong team defensively, having only conceded 3 goals from their first 6 games. I don't see a team like Maccabi Tel Aviv being able to score multiple goals against Freiburg. Maccabi Tel Aviv sit near the bottom of the table and they're playing away. I'm going to predict that Freiburg do end up winning this game 3-1 and they will advance to the knockout stages. The next game we got is Malmo against Red Star Belgrade. Malmo have not had a good Europa League campaign. They currently sit in 34th place, and even in the Swedish division in the last season, they weren't performing very good. And now that their domestic league is over, they're not really playing any games other than these Europa League fixtures, while obviously Red Star Belgrade are currently in the middle of their season. So that is a big advantage for Red Star Belgrade. With that being said, even though Red Star Belgrade are playing away, I do expect them to win this game 2-1. Moving on to the next game, we have PAOK against Real Betis. I'm calling it from now. This is going to be a very high scoring game. If you look at both of these teams within their last 5 matches, PAOK have scored 11 goals and Real Betis have scored 10. So they're both scoring a lot of goals. But at the same time, we saw Real Betis lose 5-1 against Real Madrid. So yes, I do think Real Betis are a good team, but there is also a few games that they play where they don't look good. The attack can't string together proper passes, and defensively they look like a mess. But with that being said, I still think that Real Betis will slightly edge it against PAOK. I think it's going to be a very entertaining game, a crazy scoreline. So I'm going to predict a 3-2 win for Real Betis. Moving on to the next game, we have Victoria Pilsen against FC Porto. At the start of the season, I didn't think that FC Porto were having the best start, but recently they've turned it around, and in their last 5 matches, they've won every single game. They currently sit 8th place in the Europa League table, while Victoria Pilsen sit in 14th. Now, I will say Victoria Pilsen are also one of the only teams that have still not lost a single game. They've won 2, and the other 4 games were all draws. So the chances of this game ending in a draw is very, very high. But I don't want to be boring. I want to predict a winner. So I'm going to predict that FC Porto will be able to beat Victoria Pilsen. It will be tough, but I'm going to predict a 2-0 win for FC Porto. The next game we got is Young Boys against Lyon. I think that this has to be the easiest prediction of this Europa League match week, because Lyon currently sit in 1st place. They've scored 13 goals and they've only conceded 3, plus 10 goal difference. They've won 5 out of 6 games. Where Young Boys, on the other hand, sit in 21st place. They've only won 3 out of the first 6 games. And in Young Boys' last 4 matches, they lost every single game. When Lyon, on the other hand, in their last 4 matches, they've won every single game. I feel like with Lyon, they have so many scoring outlets, and that's what really helps them out so far in this Europa League. And if you look at their top scorer in the competition, it's Corentin Tolisso, who is a midfielder. He's already gotten 4 goals for them. And with some of the youngsters that they have up top, like Endrick and Moreira, they're very young players, they're very pacey players, and they can definitely score goals. So for that reason, I'm going to predict a 4-0 win for Lyon. Moving on to the next game, we have Braga against Nottingham Forest. I feel like Nottingham Forest have been very inconsistent recently, and under Sean Dyche, you never really know what's going to happen. We saw them get a draw against Arsenal, which was a very good result. We saw them beat West Ham, which was another good result. But then we saw them draw against Wolves. They lost against Aston Villa, and they also lost against Everton, which are very poor results for them. And I feel like Nottingham Forest have the players to score goals. They have Igor Jesus, they have Gibbs White, they have Hudson-Odoi, and also Dominguez. All these players can score goals for them, and Igor Jesus has already gotten 4 goals in this competition. But for some reason, Braga having the home advantage, I just feel like they will be able to outscore Nottingham Forest. I know Nottingham Forest have a good defense. Milenkovic and Murillo are very good defenders, but for some reason they've been conceding a lot of goals recently. They don't look as compact as they were earlier on in the season. So with that being said, Braga having the home advantage, I'm going to predict a 3-2 win for Braga. Moving on to the next game, we have Celta Vigo against Lille. Lille have been a very inconsistent team this season, where we see them go on 4, 5, 6 game winning streaks, but then they'll go multiple games losing every game. And in their last 3 matches, we saw them lose against Rennes, then they lost against Lyon, and most recently, they lost 3-0 against PSG. For some reason, I feel like Celta Vigo will win this game. I think it will be a very low scoreline, but I'm going to predict a 1-0 win for Celta Vigo. Moving on to the next game, we have Dinamo Zagreb against FCSB. I don't know what it is, but it seems like every time I predict a result for one of these teams, they always end up doing the opposite of what I say. So I don't know what to predict in this game. I feel like Dinamo Zagreb have been on better form recently than a team like FCSB. They lost both of their last 2 games, and they haven't really been able to score in recent games. So with that being said, I'm going to go for a 2-1 win for Dinamo Zagreb. But realistically, it could completely be the opposite. Moving on to the next game, we have Utrecht against Genk. Honestly, FC Utrecht have been very disappointing so far in this Europa League. They still have not gotten a single win. From their first 6 matches, they drew 1 game and they lost the other 5. And I expected better from them, but scoring goals has been a real struggle for them. In total, I feel like this has been a little bit of a disappointing season for Utrecht. And with that being said, even though Genk are playing away, I do think they will win this game 1-0. The next game we got is Fenerbahce against Panathinaikos. Fenerbahce in their last 4 matches have not been playing that good. We saw them draw a game and they also lost 2 matches. And they haven't been being able to score the goals. Defensively, they look okay, but scoring goals has been an issue for Fenerbahce recently. And if you look at Panathinaikos, when they play at home, they perform very good. In recent matches, we saw them get 2-3-0 wins when they were playing at home. But away from home, we saw them lose 4-0 against Athens, and they also lost 2-0 against PAOK. So Fenerbahce having the home advantage, I do think they will be able to beat Panathinaikos. So I'm going to predict a 1-0 victory for Fenerbahce. Moving on to the next game, we have Nice against Go Ahead Eagles. Nice have been shocking in this Europa League. They sit last place, 0 points, 6 losses from their first 6 matches. It's disgraceful. Honestly, I don't know what the hell Nice got going on in their training grounds, but It's not scoring goals, because 4 goals and 13 goals conceded in 6 matches is ridiculous. Now, Nice do have a few injuries coming into this match, and that has been a problem for them throughout this whole season, is injuries. But even domestically in the Liga, they just haven't been performing good. They haven't been able to get the goals, and defensively, they've looked all over the place. With that being said, I gotta back Go Ahead Eagles to win this game. I'm gonna predict Go Ahead Eagles to beat Nice 2-1. The next match we got is Rangers against Ludogorets. Rangers recently have picked up some form. If you remember, at the start of the season, both in the Scottish Premiership and in the Europa League, they were horrible. They were losing games, drawing games, back-to-back draws. They were not performing good. But recently, they've been much better. And if you look at them in their last 5 matches in all competitions, they have won every single game. But I do feel like that will end in this match. They've been suffering from a few injuries recently. And if you look at Ludogorets, their striker Stanic is absolutely crazy. He's already gotten 6 goals in the Europa League. He's the top goal scorer in this competition. He's going to bag a brace from this game. I'm calling it from now. Now, I do think Rangers will be able to score in this game, but I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw. Moving on to the next game, we have Roma against Stuttgart. This is going to be a very interesting game. In my opinion, a pretty high scoring game as well. And that's rare for Roma in my opinion, because under Gasperini, yes, he has a very nice style of play. He loves to play that possession style of football, very attacking style, very counter-attack heavy. But in recent matches, they've been scoring a lot of goals. We saw them score 8 goals in their last 4 matches. And Stuttgart, on the other hand, have scored 11 in their last 4 matches. We saw them beat Frankfurt 3-0, and they also got a very nice 4-1 win against Leverkusen. We've seen goals from many different attackers on Stuttgart's team. We've seen goals from Undav and even from their midfielder El Kanous, who I think has been a very important player for them in their team. But he will be missing this game as he is suspended. And I think that's a big loss for Stuttgart, because I think El Kanous is a very important player in their midfield. For that reason, I'm going to back Roma to win. They're playing at the Stadio Olimpico, so I'm going to predict Roma to win this game 3-2. And finally, the last game is Salzburg against Basel. Realistically, this game could go either way, but I've not been impressed by Salzburg so far in this Europa League. I thought they would 100% be better, but recently in the Champions League and in the Europa League in recent years, they just haven't been able to perform, and most tournaments they go out in the first round. Even though Basel are playing away, I'm putting all my money on Shaqiri scoring a banger in this game, so I'm going to predict Basel to win this game 1-0. And that's the end of this video. Those were my Europa League predictions for the 7th match day in the league phase. As always, if you guys agree with my predictions, remember to leave a comment down below. But if you disagree with my predictions, remember to leave your predictions and I'll be sure to reply to every single comment. Remember to check out my Champions League prediction video, and if you want a chance to win a $50 giveaway, remember to leave your predictions on that video as well. And obviously, if you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and stay tuned for more videos.